everyone, my name is Rhiannon from Blue Dog Board Games. Today we're going to be doing a solo playthrough of Cascadia. Now Cascadia is a small box, sort of an abstract puzzly type game where you're laying tiles and popping some like animal tokens out on them, trying to satisfy certain scoring criteria. From the base game box, you can either play it like a beat your own score variant, but today we're going to be carrying on with my solo scenario like campaign that I'm doing. In the back of the rulebook there are, I think, there's 15 different solo scenarios that you can play and try and like satisfy the criteria and get as high a score as possible. And I'm on scenario 7, so we're going to be doing that one today. So we're all set up, ready to go, so let's get going. So first of all, before we get going, we're gonna actually have a look at our scoring criteria and our like achievements that we need to get. So for scenario 7, we need to be scoring a minimum of 90 points, which is actually quite a lot. And we need to be scoring at least 20 points with our hawks. So that's it for that. And we've already got our scoring criteria out. So for our hawks, they score for each pair of hawks for the number of unique animal types between them. Bears score per group of 3 bears. Score nice 10 points for a group of 3 bears. Elk score for each group of elk in any shape, all the way up to 28 points if you get 8 or more, which is really nice. Foxes score for each fox the number of single adjacent animal types. I don't like that one. Maybe we'll stay away from the foxes this game. And then finally the salmon score for each run of 3, 4 or 5 or more salmon. So the hawks are going to be a challenge. I do quite like the sound of the bears and the elk though. So we'll see how they get on. Maybe we'll actually not go for the bears and go for the salmon instead, because the salmon could earn us more points. But anyway, we'll see how we get on. So this game is actually very simple. All we're doing is drawing one of these like pairs here. So we draw 1 token and 1 tile. If we wanted to mix and match the tile and token, we have to we have to discard one of these nature tokens. And at the beginning of the game, we don't actually have any. So we have to just pick one of these 4 pairs. And I think I'm just going to go for that hawk straight off, just because we're going to need a lot of hawks. And if I did like a elk, and then start a hawk over here maybe, or over here. Yeah, so let's try and match the terrain as well. And grab a hawk this direction perhaps. And then in a solo game, you discard the draw pile will usually be like over here, but I've just got them all out of the way. So I'm going to be discarding the rightmost tile and rightmost token. Shuffle everything down and redraw. Got a nice lot of hawks, so that's good. Okay, so we got some salmon. They could be quite nice as well to start drawing from, making like a run over this section. But maybe it's a little bit early. The thing is, I don't want to cluster my hawks too early in the game, otherwise they're not going to score me much. I want to like get them in a long line away from each other so I can put lots of animals between them. Let's go for a salmon. I don't really want a bear or a fox. You'll see on each of these tiles they'll have like images of the tokens that can be placed on there. So this one can only have a bear and a fox placed on it, whereas like everything else may have more or less, or just one type of animal that you can place on it. You know what, we're going to go for this one over the right hand side and try and make it so this hawk will be over here, and I could maybe pop another hawk over here. Salmon will be there, hopefully an elk will be there, and I could hopefully get something else different in there. Let's see if that will work. So I think at this point I may actually grab one of these hawks, because I don't really want the tile underneath them, but I could actually spend spend the nature token that I get for placing the hawk here to go for one of these other tiles, I could grab that salmon. You know what? What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to stick you here, get a nature token, because there's a little symbol here which will tell me to. And then hopefully I can pop a hawk on here, get a salmon in here, that will be an elk. And then that will be at least, that will be 16 points from the off, which is really good in terms of scoring for my hawks. So that's a good start. And I've got a nature token as well to help me along. Fox, I don't want a fox. Salmon, I don't have any spaces for salmon at the moment, but this could be a good combination then. I think I'll stay away from the bears, maybe. I think we'll go for the salmon instead of the bears. Yeah, let's go for this combination here. At the end of the game as well, you score for each habitat corridor, they call it. So for each adjacent tile that has a similar habitat that's right next to it, because they're all split into two, you score 1 point for the biggest section of that habitat type. And any habitat corridors that have 7 or more tiles of the same type that it crosses gain you an extra 2 points. In the solo game, it does change up according to the player count. So it's in your best interest to try and keep habitat types together as much as you can. Yeah, that's a good option, I think, for my salmon to go there. This fox can just disappear. He can go, that's fine. I would like to see some elk, if I'm honest, to try and get a nice little group of elk going. Fox, bear. I've got nowhere to put the salmon again now. So that's not a great combination. I don't really want a bear. Maybe I will go for bears. At least it's a different animal type. Should I go for a bear? It's either that or I spend this token here. And I really don't want to spend that, if I'm honest. So let's go for a bear. I'm going to stick a bear in here. I want a different animal type to go here, so I don't particularly want to get a hawk there. So I might use this as an elk space, and maybe stick you up here. Something like that, perhaps. Fox can go away. And we'd like some elk, please. Or hawks. Not salmon. That's a lot of salmon. So at this point we have 3 of a kind that are out and about. So on my turn I can choose to redraw them. So I would take those 3 salmon aside, redraw and pop those 3 salmon back in the bag. At any time as well I can spend one of these tokens to not only take any token with any tile, but I can choose to spend a token to discard any number of the tokens and redraw as well. But I don't know if I want to do that right now. I could take this salmon and start doing a line of salmon down here, which could be quite nice. Ideally, I need an extra animal to come out this way. You know, we're going to redraw these salmon, I think. No, I'm not. Let's just roll with it while it's out and about. So I'm going to take this, make a run of salmon. So at least this salmon's going to score me 10 now. And then you can disappear. I don't know whether that's silly to get rid of that tile. Just because I'm a little bit worried about this segment here. I need to get my bears going down this way. Or I could, I guess, just elongate it. Because I need a second hawk somewhere up here. So I want this tile, I think, but I don't want the fox. I don't want that salmon because I've got nowhere to place him. And I don't think I particularly want that tile either. I don't want, the hawk could be nice, but I don't want that tile. And I don't really want that tile either. So I think I actually might spend a nature token right now to grab this tile. I think with this bear, maybe. And shall I actually do it around this way? Something like that. It doesn't really matter. I don't know whether that's a good idea. And then everything just like slots in. So because I chose a different tile that was associated with a different token, you just move everything down. So these are now actually corresponding with different tiles than they were a minute ago. Not that I don't think it's not any more helpful. Maybe that hawk would be okay. I need some elk. Here's an elk. Would that hawk be good? I could stick the hawk here, but then I could put a fox there, which could be even better. I could get a salmon in here, then that would be elk, salmon, fox, and then hopefully a hawk. Maybe that would be good. So I don't want this, because I don't want that tile. I could grab you, but I would ideally want there to be some like wasteland or whatever it's called, wetland, to like go in a big line instead of the forest and the river. The bear, I don't particularly want either because it's the wrong habitat types. The elk, I don't want the elk's tile. So basically, I don't think I want any of them. It's okay, we can make use of this one. So let's actually go for this tile here, and we'll stick this elk here to get a nature token. Then at least we might have a little bit more flexibility. We do really need to start bulking out these hawks though. Another elk and another fox. Alright, we're going to sacrifice this hawk. What I think I want to do is I want to make sure that I have a line. I want to make sure I'm scoring for these hawks. So I'm actually going to grab this tile and this fox. Fox can go here. And then I think I'm going to rotate this, and then this is going to be a salmon at some point. And then I'm looking for a tile to go here with a hawk on it. So then that'll be 3 different animals between the hawks, which will be good. And then I can worry about this guy here. But I am discarding a hawk, and that's probably really silly. Salmon, that would have been a better one to go in the middle there. No, it wouldn't have, actually. I lie. Alright, okay, until we have some better options, we're going to go for this here. If I can try and match it all up. And then we're going to start moving our elk around. So at least we're scoring a little bit more for some elk now. Oh, these are all very yellow. I don't really want the yellows. Okay, we got a salmon, which is really good. We want a hawk here, but we haven't got a hawk tile, so let's ignore that. Let's just bide our time. This could be beneficial for the bear. I don't think that any of them are brilliant, if I'm honest. Let's actually stick this tile in the centre, because that's just going to bulk out all of our habitats. And let's get an elk. Bear can go away. We want... Oh, that one's going to be nice. I want this tile. And it's with a salmon, so perfect. So let's Oh, that hawk's going to go though. That's like, we're going to have to sacrifice that hawk. The hawk will come back. We'll have another hawk. So let's, what am I trying to do? I'm getting myself confused. I want everything. We want you in a minute, but we've got time. Do I want you in the meantime? I don't think so. Because a bear is going to go here. All right, before we forget what we're going to do, we're just going to go for what we actually want. Because I'm in danger of otherwise doing something that I don't want to do and then forgetting what my plan was. So this is going to go here. And a hawk is going to sit here when we find another one. I was afraid that I was going to not remember what was going on. So where are we on the hawk front? Damn it. No hawks. So we'll get 9 from that. And hopefully we're going to get another 9 from this one, which means we need more. So we need to actually get lots more hawks. At this point then, I'm going to choose to redraw these just in case we can grab some more hawks at this point. I really don't want foxes. Nor elk, if I'm honest. Okay. So we don't want these foxes. Elk will not be any good because I've got nowhere to put him right now. And this tile won't allow me to place an elk. So I'm just going to be basically wasting a turn. You can still draw it, but you just have to discard the token that you can't use. So I think the best bet may be this one. I could maybe look to expand the habitat type. Let's stick a bear in here. I could potentially get a hawk on here. Maybe get an elk on there. And then if a hawk could get here, that would be good. And that would give us our maximum over 20 points. Oh, that's a nice tile. See, there's lots of tiles with hawks on them. However, it was the wrong terrain type. I wanted to put him up there. Yes, we got a hawk and an elk. Okay. So fox we still don't want. This could be okay. Yeah, let's actually draw you. Then you could go there. And then I know it's the wrong terrain, but it's getting a little late in the game and I'm a little bit scared. So let's pop you there. You guys disappear. You go along. We just need to draw all the hawks. All the hawks. Calling all hawks. No, you're not a hawk. Neither are you. Saying that though, I've got a nice lovely hawk here, which can pop there. Do I want this one? The thing is, what would actually be more beneficial for me? I don't know whether to spend that nature token. Would you be better? I still need to expand this out, you know. So what could I expand it with? A bear is already going to be in between those. It's just going to have to be a random animal, I think, at this point. So maybe I will spend it and just grab like a salmon. Oh, this is desperate situations. I'm just a little worried about not scoring enough of these hawks. So I'm going to spend that and I'm just going to grab a different tile. And then hopefully grab one of those animals to pop on this tile in a minute. No, don't be stupid. No, I'm not doing that. I can just grab that in a minute. I'm going to put you up here. I'm so indecisive in this game. The thing is, there's just so many things that you can do. There's so many ways to score and everything's just going to be pretty good. But 90 points is really quite a push. And so I'm just panicking a little bit. Let's try and move you down. Ready? Oh, there we go. That's the trouble with these like tile laying games on a playthrough. You never know how big your like playthrough is going to get, or which direction you're going to spread. So I don't want this elk. This salmon I said I was going to grab because I could then extend. I don't want the salmon though. Maybe I could have just grabbed the elk and then grab the hawk in a minute. I'm not going to need to though, because what I could do, these guys are scoring me 9. If I get hawks here, they'll score me 9, so I'll be at 18. I could just grab, I should have put that tile down here, a hawk down here to score me like 4. So as long as I grab this hawk in a minute, let's actually, I don't want this tile. Do I want you? Yeah. I think. Yeah, you're fine. I can extend the yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll hopefully see what I'm doing. I'm hoping now I can grab a hawk to stick at the very bottom. If you can see, it's probably not even visible on the playthrough anymore. But let's grab that hawk in a sec. Salmon and a hawk, good. So hawk, you're gonna go down here, and this tile is gonna come here. So hopefully I'll be scoring 4 for these 2 hawks. You guys go over there. I've just sort of neglected all the other animals though, so I don't know whether I'm going to have enough points for everything else. We'll see. I don't want a fox and a bear. I've only got one group of bears, but that's okay. It's going to have to be a hawk, but I've got 1 nature token. Do I want to spend that nature token on anything else? I don't want to start any more groups of bears. What about fox? Would a fox be any use right now? I think there's still a chance that a fox may score me more points than a pointless tile. So there may be an opportunity to... Oh, the thing is though, I'm going to need to save this just in case I need to redraw, because I still need... How many... Let's pop you... You know what? Does this need... It says, score for each pair of hawks, number of unique animal types between them. Do you reckon if there's an empty space, whether that... It doesn't say about empty spaces. Why should it matter if there's an empty space there? I'm just going to see if I can see anything in the rules. It does say a line of sight is only interrupted by the presence of another hawk. So it doesn't say empty spaces or anything like that. So they're fine now. So they're scoring me 9. These guys are scoring me 9. So I need 1 more hawk. So I really don't want to spend this just in case another hawk doesn't get drawn. So I am just going to take that tile and extend my water just in case, because we're like 1 or 2 turns off the end of the game. We can get 2 more tiles. So, come on hawks. Come on hawks. No, you're definitely not hawk. And you're definitely not hawk. I'm absolutely going to spend this now to redraw these. We need hawks. Come on. You're not a hawk either. But you are. That's okay. It's okay. At least we've got the hawks. Whether or not we've got the 90 points, I don't know. I thought it was going to be like, ooh, 4 hawks at some point drawing all of those out. Then we'd have to redraw automatically. Okay, so we can afford to just have a dither about, just in case there's something better to do. You're not going to be useful now, so I don't want you. You will, of course, be useful. But I don't think the yellow could be actually scoring us more, so that's good. You're less useful than this pairing. And the fox could be used. If I place that tile, where would I want the fox? Actually, let's draw it now. I'm going to place this, where am I placing this hawk? This one here. And I want this tile here. Yeah. You get discarded. So let's triple check our hawks, because I really don't want to be really stupid and not score properly for them. This is the very last turn. Salmon and a bear. So yeah, we've got 4 from you guys, 9 from you guys, 9 from you guys. We're good. We're good with hawks. So we don't really need you. In fact, you won't be actually scoring us any points at all. So the maximum number of points we'll be scoring from this tile, I think, is 1. The fox could be good because I could score 2 points from the fox. Salmon won't get me any extra points. Bear won't get me extra points. So let's grab the fox. You can go into here and pop you there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the game. So I'm going to go and grab a calculator and we will see if we've got 90 points. I don't think we do. I feel like I didn't actually play my best there, but we'll just have to try again next time. Okay, so scoring. First of all, we do the wildlife cards. So hawks, we have got 9 points for these 2 here, 9 points for this pair here, and then 4 points for this. So that is 22 for the hawks. Bears, we've only got 1 group of 3, so that's 10 points for them. We've only got 2 foxes on the board. And then it's for each fox the number of single adjacent animal types. So the number of a single adjacent animal type. So we can do the hawks for this guy. So he's 2 points, and this guy, we'll also do the hawks for him, so here's another 2. Elk, we've only got a group of 4, so that's another 10. And then the salmon, we do have a nice run of 5 salmon here, so that is 15. 61 points from the cards. Oh, okay. That's not the worst. We'll see what else we can get. So then we've got the habitat tile corridors. So for each player, you score 1 point per habitat tile in their largest contiguous habitat corridor. So a group of connected habitat types in each of the habitat types. So we'll do mountains first. So I've got a group of 2 here. I don't think this one counts because it's on a corner. So 2 is our largest, unfortunately, for that. Then we've got forests, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a forest. What have we got? Prairies. So we've got nice big prairie, so that's cool. This one I should have rotated or something. This was the beginning tile anyway, so I couldn't have. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wetlands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finally the rivers, and I believe that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. Oops, not 55. And then the habitat tile corridor majorities, and this is like different per player count. So in a solo game, you score a 2 point bonus for each habitat type with a group of 7 or more. So I've only got the prairies with a group of 7 or more, so I only gain 2 points for that. And then finally, I gain any points for nature tokens, and I don't have any nature tokens. So that means I scored 89 points. Oh my god. I'm just trying to think, where could I have got that last point from? If I hadn't have spent that token, I should have waited, shouldn't I? If I'd waited to the very last round of the game to draw, and I wouldn't have needed to have spent that nature token, I could have got, the hawk was already out. I'd drawn a hawk, I didn't need to spend it, so I could have got 90 points. I would have been spot on and I would have cleared it. But anyway, 1 point away. That is, this is the first scenario that I've I've needed to sit down and think about properly. So far, you sort of go through some of the easiest scoring criteria, and a lot of them are just sort of, you know, score 80 points, or is it 75? I don't know. But this has been the first one that has been a challenge. No, they're all 80, 85. And then this is the first one that's 90 points. So it's beginning to push me, which is really, really fun and very frustrating at the same time. But anyway, that is Cascadia. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough today, and I will be back in a moment to let you know my final thoughts on the game. So just going through some final thoughts on Cascadia. I won't go into this one in too much depth just because it is quite a lightweight experience. And if you have seen some of my other videos leading up to now in the last few months, you'll know that this one ticks many boxes for me and I have very minimal negative things to say about it. But anyway, I will do my best to sort of summarise my thoughts here. This one really ticks a lot of boxes for me in that in my ranking video, I actually put this into an S tier category, so like the best of the best for me. I do feel like this one actually on hindsight is more an A tier game for me. This one just ticks so many boxes in terms of it's lightweight, so I can play it in almost any situation. So even if I'm not feeling great, it's one I can pull off the shelf. I think it's approachable, it's pretty, little to no setup, and very replayable. And so I think it's just a very approachable game for so many different people. Going off of that, I think that this one is so easy to get to the table for a vast majority of gamers. This one has like a little bit of complexity when you start going through the solo scenarios. As you can see, like this one really starts to like push you in terms of scoring, and you've got to be a little bit careful about when you draw tokens, when you don't, and which ones you draw. And so I think that this one does have a little bit more crunch the more you dive into it. And so it could be quite satisfactory for seasoned gamers. Maybe not if you are just, you know, solely heavy Euro gamer. This is not going to scratch that itch for you. But this one is one that I very much appreciate having for like a bit more of a downtime experience, and I very much am enjoying like bulking out that section of my board gaming hobby. Similarly, I think that this one can also be very approachable to families because this one has a different like mode that you can play. So there is like a scoring card in this that allows you to just look at similar like animal adjacency. Instead of all of these slightly complicated scoring rules, you can literally just match animals next to each other. So you can play it with kids. You can, you know, try and match the same color terrain together, try and match the same animals next to each other. Even like your grandma, your grandparents can get involved as well. And so I just think this one has something for everyone. The scoring criteria as well do definitely have like a little bit of a curve. So you've got A to D scoring criteria, and the A's are how the campaign or the scenarios actually start out. And they are much more simple and easier to score from, I found personally. And so your first few games, you just ease yourself into it by playing those ones. And they're ones that I would probably play with new players as well, just because they are just a bit less of a headache to get your head round and continuously refer back to. So ultimately, I think this is a really approachable game that is going to has something for everyone, young and old, and really just fits in a lot of natural gamers as collections for a multitude of reasons. The reason why I think it's just slightly dropped for me from an S tier to A tier is because I'm actually comparing it to my like ultimate favorite lighter weight solo game, which is Keystone North America. I think ultimately the solo mode in this one is very, very strong. Somebody said on one of my previous videos, I think it was my blog video when I went through this game initially, that they didn't really understand it because, not understand it as such, but understand the hype behind it, because it is just draw a tile, draw a token and place it. There's not too much there. And when you're playing the base game out of the box just as it stands, I can see that maybe. I haven't played this one multiplayer that much. I played it a couple of times and I have enjoyed it. But where I think this one shines is in the solo scenarios and that build up and that ability to really push you. because they do challenge you. And the ones which are later on, so the very final one, you need to score 100 points, and you've got 3 separate criteria to tick alongside that as well. And so I really see the challenge there, and I really appreciate that. So not only can you play this one just standard like you normally would solo, with a beat your own score, you also have that ability to really go through and try and all those mix-ups of the different scoring criteria to really just enhance that replayability. So solo mode, really, really great. But where it did drop for me in comparison to Keystone North America was because Keystone North America elevates that even further, gives you the scenarios, but also adds narrative and story to it, which just bogs out that whole experience for me. And if this one had a little narrative to go along with it, this one would be hand in hand with Keystone North America to be the best of the solo games for my lighter weight, lovely, pretty, nature type collection that I can do on a Sunday morning when I'm feeling naff. Playtime for this game as well is really spot on. I've played games which last about 25 minutes. I've played them that last about 35 minutes. So really bang on about half an hour. Obviously, if you've got a massive amount of analysis paralysis, it's going to take you longer, but you can usually, there's a restricted number of choices here. You're not going to spend forever trying to work through which is the most efficient solution, because you've only really got 4 options unless you start to think about spending your nature tokens. So, you know, there is scope for deciding what you want to do and manipulating the game a little bit, but not a huge amount. It is a luck of the draw of what comes out the bag and what tiles you've drawn. So playtime is absolutely spot on. And then going off a similar theme as well, the setup and teardown of this game is basically non-existent. Just count out the number of tiles you need, because that differs according to your player count. Grab a couple of cards and you're ready to go. It's minimal. I really like the aesthetics of this one as well. I think the tones are, I mean, maybe not the tiles themselves, but the actual animal cards and the tokens, I feel are a little bit more like muted, so it feels much more tranquil than some other like nature-themed games. And I've heard some people don't particularly like the animal art, but I think it's really nice. It's not like the best art I've ever seen, but it certainly fits the bill, and I think it actually is quite tranquil. I think that's a really good way to sum up this game. It's a very tranquil feeling game. Initially, I did think some of the scoring criteria and the cards was quite wordy, but they do have like a segment in the back of the rule book which sort of explains to you in an alternative way about what they mean by that particular wording. And once you've gone through it once or twice, you can look at the images on the cards and it does then click and make sense to you. It's nothing too complicated, but it is a little bit wordy, like however many animals in between this number of pairs, and it's, you know, that just sort of boggles your brain a bit when you try and read those sentences. But once you get going, it's not too bad. I think ultimately, like if it's just going to be, I'll have 2 pairs next to each other or something like that, it is obviously going to elevate the game further by having those more complex ways of scoring, and ultimately they're difficult to explain to people. But I think this game does a pretty darn good job of it. So that's all I really have to say on Cascadia. This is a wonderful solo game in my opinion. It also works very, very well multiplayer, but honestly I think those solo scenarios are where this one really shines. I really enjoy the replayability of this one, and that combination of mixing up all of that scoring criteria with those additional goals and scoring like targets you have to meet. They really do become quite challenging, and I'm only halfway now, and I've now failed twice in a row trying to get that target score. So it's a real top-notch experience here. Just going off of that a little bit more, and I will wrap it up there, but I do think that this one can be played exactly how you want it to be. So if I did want a nice relaxing experience, I may not replay that scenario because I need to concentrate on it. I need to think about how many hawks I've gone through, how close I am to the end of the game, and keep totaling up where I am in terms of those scoring. Whereas if you wanted like a more lightweight experience, you can just take out all of that scoring, do your beat your own score variant, or even go back to the very beginning of the scenario book and do the 1 to 4 scenarios, because they use the simpler scoring criteria. I just think that this has a lot of flexibility in how exactly you want to play, and therefore is it can fit in whatever you are doing with your day, whether you're having a busy day and you want, you know, a nice tranquil experience, or whether you're having a boring day and you want something to stimulate your mind. I think it can tick all of those boxes, on top of being really approachable to all sorts of people, all sorts of gamers and young and old people, as well as being visually pleasing. I mean, it's ticking everything here. So Cascadia is really a top-notch game for me. And as I said, I really don't have anything negative to say. Probably the only negative is the stupid little cardboard insert they have in the box. I think I'm just going to bin that because it stops me being able to put all the tiles in there properly. So thank you very much for joining me for my playthrough today. I hope you enjoyed Cascadia. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and you will be let know of any future releases that I do. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!